Hi everyone, so let's talk about the ghost hunt that I did in Buckingham this weekend just gone. So I know I had tons of you ask me how it went and stuff, so this was my first ever one. Like, I've done mediumship ones but none with ever any equipment or anything like this, so this was like a new thing for me. So what drew me into this one is the fact that it was run by witches, and literally, like, it came up on my Facebook. I didn't search for it. It literally just kind of came up. And I was like, okay, I really want to give that a go. So, got there. We didn't do anything for like an hour. It was quite annoying, to be fair. There was a lot of waiting around. And it was a 6-hour event. A lot of money for 6 hours. And, yeah, so we got there and they did like this grounding stuff. So I was sat there in a room of 20 people reading them. Not out loud. Well, I did the lady next to me. I was just, you know, picking up on certain things. Now, I've been to this jail during the day, and during the day it's pretty much a dead cell, so to speak. Like, there's very little energy there. It's not an overly old jail. And I thought, okay, well, these people don't know the history. I do know the history. So let's see if the stuff they pick up on is accurate or not, because I know history and I can validate certain things. Now, there's a bit written about the jail, but not tons. So the stuff I picked up on a psychic level, you won't find anywhere. As far as I know, anyway. So we all did like a walk round at first, so everyone could go see the rooms and stuff while the lights were on. And then we got split off into 4 groups, and I ended up in the wrong group, which I think was more to do with fate, I reckon, because there was a lot of activity with the group that I was in. So we started off downstairs in the main cell. Now, as much as it is quiet during the day there, I still have always felt something there, but it's never felt that bad. And so, yeah, so we got in there, and it was right when they had the torches on and stuff, but the minute those torches went off, it just felt like I couldn't breathe, and I was standing in the corner of the room just wanting to get out. And yeah, so it progressed, and we were kind of like all standing in the hallway, and my mediumship side was really awakening at this point. So I was seeing stuff and hearing stuff, and all of a sudden this woman, like literally like half of the lot went home ill within the first hour. And so this woman kept on smelling urine, and someone said, yeah, it smells like cat wee. And I said, yeah, it's probably that ginger cat that's sitting up there, because like as you kind of go down the stairs in like the main, but when you look up, there's a big mannequin of the warden who would be there, and there was a ginger cat so next to him, not a statue cat, but a dead cat I can see, nasty little thing. And so it kind of progressed for a little while. Some of them ended up going home because they felt ill, and then we went into the room, and a lot of them were feeling uncomfortable, and all of a sudden I got shoved out. I had a hand on my head pushing me out underneath the door, and obviously the doors are littler because they're like jail cell doors, they're not wide, they're little. Pushing my head down to push me out, all of a sudden I had a thump to my chest. I was literally shoved out of the room. I literally flew backwards. It was a proper shove. And then my chest really started hurting, and I was standing out there, and all of a sudden I started to get pain here, and it was like toothache sort of pain. And I was like, well, whoever's in that cell either needed a dentist or he had a blow to the cheek. So me being me, I don't like it when spirit gets physical. I don't. So I go in there, say my piece, and then it kind of just goes dead, it goes quiet. I come back out again, and they go back in and they start doing these spirit box things when it says words. And one of the words that came up was cat, and I picked up on the ginger cat, and then I smelt the wee. God, what was it? I'm trying to think now. The surname Moore was given, M-O-O-R-E. And he was only communicating with me, so with the spirit box, if everyone else was asking questions and it weren't answering them. But yeah, when I was talking, it was answering. He was answering. And I've never had a bad feeling from this prisoner. And I picked up on the fact that he was very malnourished, and the fact that he had a high fever at some point. Because, you know, when you get the shaking with a fever, that's what I was doing. I was shaking, and I was just getting these waves of shakes. So he was giving me the symptoms of, you know, when he was in there. And then someone else started to feel something very similar. And so they were doing the spirit box. And what else was it said? Oh, that was it. You know, I said about the blow of the cheek. Dentist came up. Now, this is the difference between paranormal investigators and a medium, because they use this equipment and stuff, but they don't necessarily know how. So you have a machine that's telling you all these different words. But they were unable to link what the spirit was saying. And this was the frustrating thing about the group. They weren't particularly interested in what people were picking up. They were only there for the evidence. And there were actually some really rude people in these groups. I certainly wouldn't go with them again. And, yeah, so, and then I wandered off and found the original group it was supposed to be with. I went into what they call like a lace room. But that's a very, very quiet room. There's no real activity in there. So I wandered back round and to the first group I was with. And so they were trying to do table tipping. And the table weren't tipping. But what they had done is they had the table in front of them and they'd put the spirit box and an EMF meter, probably about 2 inches, 3 inches apart. And the EMF meter was moving. Now, I don't like it when spirit play with stuff. I don't like it. Like, it's on a whole different level to them talking to you. As a medium, it even freaks me out when shit starts to move. And I actually went up close to it and I was like, wow, that's fascinating. I was fascinated by it. I actually really, really was. The spirit box meter was bigger, weren't moving. But the EMF meter, like, imagine it was like that, yeah. But it was tipping. Like that. As if someone was on one end, pushing it up. Like that. And it was near enough bouncing on the table. Now, mum was touching, actually, no, what they were. It was on the table itself. So, imagine this is the table, yeah. And you had two people, one person on either side of the table. And they only had their fingers on it like that. They're like, I can't do it on this, but like, you know, their fingertips like that on the table. That's what they were doing at that. And it was, so their table, imagine this is the table, their fingers were like that on either end. And you had the meter in the middle. So no one was touching the meter. There was no way that was faked because I was just in that room without the table and stuff. There's no way it could have been faked. And it was literally like doing that. And the EMF meters are quite heavy because they've got other batteries and stuff in it. So it was physically moving. And I literally got up close to it and I was like, oh, I was absolutely fascinated by it. I wasn't freaked out on the size. I was quite fascinated by it. I think because at that point I knew it was the nice spirit that was doing it. So we got a lot of information from the spirit, how he died, the stuff that they did to him and that. We went upstairs to like one of the other rooms, and some of you will remember this from the Facebook Live. I argued with the girl running it because she's got these diplomas and certificates and all of this stuff that were online. It doesn't make you an expert. I've been reading 24 years. I'm actually a medium. You're not. Anyway, so she was like, oh, well, you know, the Ouija board is absolutely no different to the tarot or the pendulum. I said, yeah, it is. I said, it's very different. I said, with the spirit board, you're inviting the deceased to physically move something, to physically touch something. And it acts like a conduit. Now, the difference is that when it was touching the spirit, the EMF meter thingy, that's not something that it would get trapped in. It's not something that is frequently used as a portal. Ouija boards are portals. And I said, you know, with a tarot, you don't invite nobody in to physically move or touch anything. With a pendulum, you may ask your angels and spirit guides to guide you, but it's not necessarily a ghost going, wee! You know, I had a big argument with her over it. And she just weren't listening. She was very, very arrogant. And she was only in her early 20s as well. And I was like, watch it, love. You know, I'm a bit older than you. I've got a lot more experience than you. And some of the people who almost follow this group around, they go to all these different events that this one company does. And they were actually agreeing with me. They're like, yeah, we're not touching that. And she's, oh, well, yeah, but it's going to work more if more people do it. And only her and one other person did it, and nothing happened on the Ouija board front. The EMF meters were going a bit nuts. And then they were like, oh, well, let's go downstairs and do this human pendulum. And at this point, we've been there about 4 hours. And I was like, no, if I'm going to pay 70 quid, I want to get my money's worth out of it. So I said to one of the nice girls running. I said, look, can we go and investigate this room? I'm really drawn to it. I feel like there's something in there. Let's go in there. And we did. And we would get lots of answers on the spirit box. And it was the one spirit that I was almost hoping would be there. I don't even know if this will upload because it's so long.